to talk about pain points.
Thanks for joining us today at the Industry 4.0 panel and presentations. I want to actually warm up this room a little bit and wake everybody up and just pose a couple of questions. The first one would be, how many of you have heard of HTC? How many of you have heard of Vario? Okay. How many of you have heard of a company called Eden? 1, 2. That's actually more people than I expected, because so far we were flying under the radar. And I have the plan to come back almost every year to Laval and keep repeating asking this question. And I bet you that in 5 years, many, many more hands will go up. And the reason why I'm so confident in saying that is because we're a startup and we're building a revolutionary virtual reality device. And I know you've heard this mantra before, so I'm here to explain why we believe this is revolutionary and why it will change the way virtual reality is perceived by the general public and the enterprise world. And the team that is building this, you can see here on this shot. It's what you see here is a team of incredibly talented marketers, engineers, designers, business masterminds, and me. Hi everyone, my name is Domic Eskofier. I'm the head of Europe for Eden. And some of you might know me from my past. I was running NVIDIA's European virtual reality business until I joined Eden to make something that I believe will really have an impact in this technology. And please excuse the slightly frowny faces. While spatial is a great tool for remote collaboration and bringing your team together, especially if you have, like we have, offices across multiple continents, in our case, the US, South Korea, Europe, and South Africa, where our headquarters is. And everyone on our team believes that virtual reality is a great technology. We're all believers in this, but even more than that, we believe that the world needs easier technology. I mean, everyone in this room has probably fought technology at some point, whether it's the alarm on your phone or the cables of a virtual reality headset or the drivers of a laptop or something else. Everybody has a story like that. Everybody wants easier tech. And that is the reason why we exist. We really believe that that is incredibly important for the virtual reality world to become a thing. But as you also know, virtual reality has a bunch of problems. And it really starts with just putting on the headset, right? If you're at a location like this, you might have your hair fancy, you might be wearing makeup. You don't really want to strap into a device. And then if you're a newcomer to the technology, which we believe is the future audience for virtual reality, right? There's a lot of newcomers out there. They are completely overwhelmed by cables, by the controls they have to use. And on the admin side, it's a huge hassle to manage devices, to keep them charged. Yeah, and the cable mess up there, probably many of you have seen in your boxes when you come to a show like this. It's a pretty big mess, and it turns people off virtual reality. I've given about maybe like 1,500 demos to people from all over the world, all ages, and I've realized that some people just really don't want to use virtual reality. You can tell them as much as you want about how awesome the experience is. Some people are just like, nope, that's not for me. And I thought really hard about that, because for me as an enthusiast, virtual reality is like one of the best things in the world. It's a future technology that will change the way we work, change the way we play, and change the way we connect to other human beings. So I was really confused about why people are sometimes really put off of virtual reality. And what you see here on the screen is the reason. It's very, very complicated, it's clunky, and it's an early adopter technology. And for virtual reality to go into the mainstream, to leave the early adopter phase and go into full mainstream, technology just needs to be much, much easier. And that's why we exist. We've built a virtual reality system that everyone can use without any explanations. If you can use a touchscreen device, you can use virtual reality with Eden Snacker. There's no cables, no head straps. So you don't ruin your hair, you don't ruin your makeup, and you have wireless charging integrated into the device to make sure it keeps being charged. It has, as I mentioned, very simple touchscreen controls. Everyone who can use a smartphone can use virtual reality. And on the admin side of things, we want to make your life easier. We want to make it super seamless to upload virtual reality content to your devices no matter where you are in the world, which is something that right now is just simply not possible. And the first major point that we realized is head straps just suck. They are very annoying, they ruin your hair, they press the device on your face, and some people, because of the head straps, don't want to go into virtual reality because they might look silly. People might be taking photos of them while they are strapped into a virtual reality device. And by simply removing the head straps and adding a grip to the device, we saw engagement rates skyrocket. Everyone picks this up. Whereas if there's a device lying around with just head straps, people are like, maybe later. This one is really easy. You can go in and out within half a second. It's really, really that easy. The second thing we've done is we've added wireless charging to the stand that our headset rests on. This is the world's only headset available on the market that has wireless charging integrated as a full solution. So essentially, your battery headaches are gone. Your devices will always be charged right when you need them. And we've added a very, very simple touchscreen interface. This means that you don't need a host anymore for your virtual reality demos. The system is completely self-explanatory. You walk up to it, you press a button, you choose an experience, you pick the headset up from the stand, and you're immediately ready to go into virtual reality. Once you're done, you put the headset back on the cradle, it automatically charges and is ready for the next user. It's a really great device for events, museums, retail spaces, everywhere where you want to bring a lot of newcomers into virtual reality, but you don't want any of the hassle that is usually associated with running virtual reality in those situations. And as I mentioned, we also want to make the admin life easier. So we have built a full XR platform that powers Eden Snacker and Eden Station and combines everything into one full package. You can manage your devices remotely from anywhere in the world. So imagine you have a setup in Amsterdam, for example, or in Paris. You could log into your web browser here in Laval and manage those devices remotely. Same if they are in the US or Japan or wherever you want. It's powered by Microsoft Azure, so we have a really robust cloud in the background that really makes sure that these things that I'm promising here actually work. And one of the most important things that Eden XR platform can do is it gives you access to the data so that you can see how people are actually using your devices. Right now, if you go out there in the hall, you can count the number of people that have used your device. It's one metric. We're adding a lot of other metrics. We're adding ratings, so you will know which content pieces do my visitors like best. And you can make more content in that direction. If you are, for example, in a corporate and you want to go to your manager and say, hey, I want to do a VR event. Manager's going to say, how much is it going to cost? And you say, $10,000, $20,000. And then 2 weeks after that event, your manager's going to come back and ask, well, what did we get out of it? And you can say, we had like 50 people during the show. With Eden XR platform, you can demonstrate that return of invest much, much better. You can say, for these 10,000 people, we had 120 visitors, 60 of them watched the experience completely. The rating was 99% positive, and that is something that your manager is going to like and is going to approve the next time you want to do some virtual reality at an event. And by making virtual reality easy, we're suddenly opening this up to places where it was just too costly or too complicated to deploy before. Think of retail spaces like car showrooms. Think of places like museums where you can choose between different experiences. You can even upsell your visitors on those virtual reality experiences. It's a way for you to drive more visitors to your show and monetize those visitors a little bit more than you could usually do. Another perfect example is events. If you want to demonstrate a product in a modern, immersive way, you're choosing virtual reality. If you want to demonstrate it in the most easy way, you're choosing Eden Snacker. And then another application that we see we're very hopeful for is healthcare. We're already deploying Eden Snackers in hospitals, and we're helping children who are unfortunately not able to leave the hospital beds due to COVID and due to severe illnesses. We're bringing virtual dreams to those kids together with the Reach for a Dream Foundation. And these headsets are going to be rolled out across South Africa, and we're working with different other organizations to bring the simplest VR and still immersive VR to people from all over the world. And essentially, you can go on and think about more use cases for this, right? You can think about how suddenly your business can do virtual reality activations where they were just too complicated or too costly, and you needed to book hosts, and somebody needed to explain the technology. This is all gone with Eden Snacker. And I invite you to not only visit our website at madebyeden.com to find out more, but to also check out the device on the show floor. We have 2 devices here. It's a world premiere. This is the first time we're showing this to the public. We've only shown it behind closed doors. And I would love to see many of your faces trying the device and seeing for yourself how much of a revolution it really is. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you for that. So one of the things that I like about virtual reality is the whole fact that you can interact with the world, and the fact that it's also hand-free, which means you have your hands to interact within the world.
Yeah.
When I see this, you're obviously losing a hand to hold the headset. Does that mean you also lose interaction, or do you have a solution for that?
Well, the solution for that is, in future, is hand tracking. When you have hand tracking, you don't need to hold a controller anymore. We're also working on a system that does have head straps, but retains all the rest of the platform functionality. So you're still benefiting from everything else that I mentioned, but in a strapped version. So if you want to do that, you can do that. And the reason why we're going for this option is really we're not aiming this at people in this room. You all play Half-Life Alyx and Beat Saber, and you're used to, you know your VR tool. But the vast majority of the people out there have never tried VR. We're still living in a bubble. And those people, and I've seen this in almost every demo that I've given, people forget which button to press. They don't see the controller anymore. They don't know what to press. And then the reaction is that they feel inadequate and they feel inept about using the technology. And so you can give them the most immersive experience ever, full hand tracking, body tracking even. But if they come out of that experience and say, well, I didn't really know what to do, that's not a good experience for a newcomer. And I've been in virtual reality since 2012, and I've given a lot of demos to newcomers, and that is one of the main things, is you have to explain, and you have to explain the controls. And then if you're in a museum, for example, the onboarding into more immersive experiences takes much, much longer. So you need to strap them in, you need to explain the controllers, they don't get it. That's like 2 minutes are gone already. And that is just simply unacceptable for a place that has high throughput and many, many newcomers that need that kind of explanation. So we're not targeting this towards the hardcore VR crowd. We're targeting this towards the mainstream that wants to become a late adopter or an early mainstream adopter. Great question, though.
All right, thank you.
How long your experiences are? I'm just curious about this gesture during 90 minutes.
Yeah, as the name says, this is made for snackable VR content. So we're thinking of shorter experiences. If you want to have longer experiences, you could have the strapped alternative that we're also offering. So if you're a VR cinema, for example, and you want the easy device management and you want the touch screen and all the accessibility, that's totally fine. if you want to sit people down on a chair and put them into a VR device for a longer time, that's also possible. But we're really aiming this at what we call micro immersions. So instead of, you know, jacking up, getting your headset ready, jumping into Half-Life Alyx to play for 3 hours, these are more for short, snackable content pieces. And like we call it micro immersions. So like, as I said, museums, retail space, where you just want to show something really quick, but you don't want to set up your whole VR system just to show them a quick demo.
Just to have an idea, the mean duration of an experience is 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes is what?
It doesn't really matter. So it really depends on your clientele. If you have visitors that usually tend to look at things relatively quickly and just take a quick look, then you can do that within 30 seconds. Because VR technology is so immersive, right? And you can bring so many more things across than you could ever in a 30-second video, for example. And so for some people, that might be enough. We see the kind of perfect length somewhere between 1 and 3 minutes, micro immersions, as I mentioned. I actually have a question to the audience. This gentleman here. I saw you very much shaking your head at some parts of my presentation. I would love to hear your feedback.
No, that was just a really personal reaction because I mean, the product itself, and I can see its use. It's practical use in the museum or something as you said, like a snackable experience. But as a developer for training in VR headsets, like we actually need both hands, so that doesn't really work at all. Sorry, I'm not really used to microphones. And I'm really curious on the development side, like, because you present your product as something that's already made and you have already the experience already made and stuff. But how do we develop for it, and is it? And I'm curious as to what's powering it, and is the software contained in the small touch screen on the side or on the headset itself, or it was kind of lacking on more on the technical specification of the headset itself. I'm assuming. So yes, from my point of view,
it's exactly my question. What kind of content could you put in your tool? And if one people here want to develop on this, how to do this? Yep, sorry. Not work.
I'll get mine.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now it's working.
Where is the content?
Sorry about that.
Where is the content?
What do you mean with where is the content? Like where physically on the device?
On the platform, in the cloud?
Okay, I have 3 questions for one. I'm going to go through them one by one. So the question about developing for it. The Eden Snacker is running on Unity. So if you can develop in Unity, you will be able in future to run APKs on them. That said, right now our first product is mostly for 360 movie viewing. So it's a 3DOF device that also doesn't need crazy hand controls. And the reason why we've done that is, well, A, the library for 360 content is about 10 times larger than for any 6DOF experiences out there, because it's much easier for normal people to create 360 content and to showcase products or to enhance a presentation. And so I would love to speak to you if I maybe catch you sometime on the show floor. Like I said, I was working at NVIDIA, and so these technical questions, they satisfy an itch that I usually sometimes don't have. So I would love to speak to you and just learn more about what you would want to develop for it. And that said, and I'm not going to make any product announcements here, but we are obviously looking at a 6DOF device in future. So then, and this would be my question to you once we get, you probably also have clients that want to do training, but then there's some old guy in the executive team that can't relate to the thing. It's too complicated. People can't onboard, and so it lands in a drawer. And I've seen that with so many VR experiences. They are amazingly done, but because of the technology being so complicated, things just end up in a drawer, and nobody trains, even though the training is arguably much, much better in virtual reality. And then the other question, where is the content? It depends whether you have content or whether you want us to produce your content. If you want us to produce your content, we'll essentially do everything for you. We have an award-winning content studio in-house that can produce 360 content at very, very competitive rates because we're producing in South Africa. The other option is if you already have content, so I'm just going to run you through this real quickly. You would go onto our platform. You would use what we call the Eden Experience Builder to upload your 360 video and make it shine on the touch screen that we have. So you would add images, you would add videos, you would add sound effects so that people are enticed to actually use the device. Once you've built that experience in Eden Experience Builder, you will select the devices, one in Amsterdam, one in Paris, one in Laval, click the deploy button, and the content will, well, the experience will be deployed to those users remotely over Microsoft Azure. Does that answer your question? Lovely. And then you can, later on, just to add to this, you can also update or change the content. You can update, you can upload new content to those devices. Once you have them deployed, you can essentially change what's on them. So imagine this is standing in a corporate office, for example. You start with a soft skills training platform, right? You watch VR videos of how not to behave or how to behave in a corporate environment. And then once your new hires have done that, you can add additional content. For example, a tour by the CEO through headquarters, so that new hires can not only do the compliance stuff, which is kind of annoying, but also get a view behind the scenes of your own corporation. And later on, I mean, if you want to then entertain your employees, you could go onto our platform. You can buy content from the content library that we're currently working on with very, very renowned studios. And once you say, okay, this entertainment piece is actually matching for my employees, you could also upload that entertainment content and disable the compliance content, for example. So you will have full control over your devices from anywhere in the world. Any more questions? I'm liking this. You're grilling me. If you have any more questions, please feel free to come by. Here's Gary, my colleague from South Africa, coming all the way to Laval, and we're more than happy to answer all your questions. And please come by and check out the demo and convince yourself of how much of a revolution this really is.
Just a last question. Is the device available?
The device is available in Q3 2021, so we're very close. We're very close to launching. We have pre-orders open. We're already we're already quite ahead in terms of pre-orders. So if you find this interesting, go on madebyeden.com and just save your slot in the queue. There's no commitment at the moment. We're just collecting pre-orders to find out which of those users we're delivering how many units to. And if you want to have a spot in line, then you should probably get in early because we've already got a lot of people. But if you have a really cool project that this fits on, or if you have a project with a large client that you want to make their life as easy as possible, please also come talk to us. We can definitely make arrangements for making you and your client happy, and then in turn also generate some revenue for our startup.
Perfect.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dominic.